All right, let's get right into one of the most foundational stories from the early days of the UFO contactee era. We're heading back to 1950 to the White Sands Proving Grounds in New Mexico to look at the first-hand account of a rocket technician named Daniel W. Fry. This is a guy who claimed his experience went way, way beyond just seeing something strange in the sky. And this is the claim right at the heart of it all, straight from Fry himself about what happened that night. I mean, what a statement. It's the kind of thing that kicks off an absolutely extraordinary story. And believe it or not, this whole thing starts with something as simple as a missed bus. So, picture this. It's July 4th, 1950. Daniel Fry is working out at the Proving Grounds, and he misses the last bus into town for the evening. It's sweltering in his little room, so to escape the heat, he decides, you know what, I'm just going to go for a walk out in the desert. So he's walking, looking up at this perfectly clear, star-filled sky, and something just catches his eye. A single bright star just vanishes. Poof, gone. And there are no clouds, nothing to block it. It simply blinks out of existence. A second later, a star right next to it does the same thing. Then two more just below that. He realizes something is up there, blocking the starlight, and whatever it is, that patch of darkness is getting bigger. It's getting closer. And then it clicks for him. Two things hit him at once. First, this thing is completely silent. And second, because its position in the sky isn't shifting left or right, it's just growing larger, it has to be on a direct path, coming right for him. Now, instead of panicking, his training as a rocket tech totally takes over. He just watches, fascinated, as this object, an ovate spheroid about 30 feet across, glides in and lands as softly as, in his words, thistledown. It just settles into the brush about 70 feet away without making a single sound. So, driven by just pure scientific curiosity, Fry walks up to this silent craft. He circles it, can't find any seams, no doors, no windows, and finally, he reaches out to touch this incredibly smooth surface. And all of a sudden, a voice just cuts through the air. "Better not touch the hull, pal, it's still hot." The shock of it literally knocks him backward onto the ground. So this voice, which introduces itself as Alan, explains that the hull is surrounded by this powerful force field. And get this, Alan isn't actually on the craft. He says he's communicating from a mothership 900 miles up. And then, he makes this unbelievable offer. How about a quick flight in this remote-controlled ship? Fry amazingly agrees. A section of the hull just slides open. He steps inside a small compartment with 4 seats. The door closes, and then this beam of energy hits it, and the solid metal becomes completely, perfectly transparent, just like looking through a window. And where are they going on this little trip? Oh, just to New York City and back. Total time for the journey? About 30 minutes. Now, you do the math on that. That requires an average speed of around 8,000 miles per hour, a speed that was just completely unthinkable for any aircraft in 1950. So the flight plan was simple, but absolutely mind-blowing. They'd launch, climb to an altitude of 35 miles, zip across the country to see the lights of New York City, and then head right back. But the whole time, the biggest question has to be, how could a person possibly survive that kind of acceleration? And this is the secret sauce. Alan explains it like this. A normal vehicle, like a car or a rocket, pushes you from behind. But this craft's propulsion system pulls every single atom of the ship, the chair, and Fry himself, all at the exact same time. It's what we'd now call inertial dampening. There are no G-forces. You don't get slammed back into your seat. Fry feels absolutely nothing as they just skyrocket into the atmosphere. But this trip was never just a joyride. After showing Fry the incredible view of New York City from 20 miles up, Alan gets to the real point of this whole encounter. He has a critical warning to deliver about the path humanity is on. And this right here really illustrates the core of the problem. Alan explains that our material science, our technology, it's developing exponentially. It's shooting up like a rocket. But our social and spiritual sciences, our ability to actually understand ourselves and get along with each other, that's just inching along at a slow, linear pace. The warning couldn't be more clear. Humanity has built this massive, incredibly complex tower of technology, but it's all resting on a social and spiritual foundation that's just too weak to support it. And now, with things like nuclear weapons, that entire structure is threatening to come crashing down on top of us. So as the craft is heading back to New Mexico, Fry notices a symbol on one of the seats that he recognizes immediately. And this discovery leads Alan to drop the biggest bombshell of the entire night. His people aren't aliens. They are our distant relatives, the descendants of a lost civilization from right here on Earth. And this timeline lays out that tragic history. Alan talks about two ancient supercontinents, Mu and Atlantis, whose scientific rivalry just spiraled completely out of control. And in a really chilling echo of our own time, their technology vastly outgrew their wisdom. They ended up unleashing weapons of absolute energy, totally destroying each other and poisoning the planet. Alan's ancestors were just the few who managed to escape to Mars. And this is the symbol that triggered that whole revelation. Fry recognized it as the tree and the serpent, which is this ancient design you can find in the myths and legends of pretty much every culture on Earth. Seeing that inside the super advanced craft was the final link, the proof that Alan's people shared a common history with us. So Alan's message wraps up just as the craft lands back in the desert, and he explains that humanity, right now, is standing at the very same cliff edge that their ancestors fell from over 30,000 years ago. And the choice, as Alan lays it out, is pretty stark. We can keep going down our current path of secrecy, fear, and division, which he says will absolutely lead to self-destruction. Or we can choose a new path, one that's focused on creating balance through mutual understanding, which could kick off a genuine golden age. What's so interesting is that the solution they offer isn't some new piece of alien tech. It's a shift in focus. Alan really hammers this point of moving from just knowing more to understanding better. He says knowledge lives in the head, but real understanding lives in the heart. It's a call to use all our amazing communication tools, not just to shout at each other, but to actually build empathy and understanding between all people. As Daniel Fry steps back out into the desert night, this is Alan's final piece of advice. And it's really a direct challenge, not just to Fry, but to all of us. It's like he's saying, look, I know how crazy this sounds. It's easy to laugh this off. But he's championing the idea that actually investigating with an open mind is where the real value lies. And that really leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? Is the White Sands incident just a fascinating product of its time, born out of the anxieties of the Cold War and the atomic age? Or is its core message, this warning about the dangerous gap between our technological power and our social wisdom, actually more relevant today than it ever was?